Welcome to Kitchen 101, where you learn how to think like a chef. How to cook, not what to cook. Today you will learn about the most underused cooking device in your kitchen and how to implement it in your recipes. So grab yourself a pen, paper, and a box to think outside of, because I'm Professor Kitchen and class is in session. In today's modern kitchen, you have gadgets galore. Some are great multitaskers that can do a ton of different things and are incredibly useful. Others, not so much. Normally, most cooks like yourself gravitate towards devices that they themselves find useful. Some folks really like a sous vide cooker and other folks couldn't care less. Most of the time, it's about your personal taste and your way of thinking about recipes that drives the gadgets that you own and use. There is one cooking implement that I'm betting you have in your kitchen right now that you rarely use as a cooking implement. In fact, I'm betting that you don't even think of it as a cooking implement. It's something that sits in your kitchen and you probably use multiple times every day, but you never even consider that it's a cooking tool. Have you figured it out yet? It's your refrigerator. The refrigerator is a cooking tool? Mind blown, right? I know you're looking at me all skeptical right now and thinking, that's it, PK has lost it. Bear with me for a minute while I explain. The icebox is a perfect place for foods to sit and let natural chemical and biological things happen in a protected and controlled environment. If, for instance, you're trying to get the exact right amount of bite in your kombucha, putting it in the refrigerator near the end of the first fermentation is going to slow down the process to where what would normally take hours now takes days or weeks. This will allow you to more easily hit your targeted vinegar content without having to worry about getting distracted and missing that very small window that unrefrigerated kombucha gives you. Have you ever eaten some leftovers and thought, this tastes better today than it did the day we cooked it? That's because the flavors have had time to meld together more. The time in the fridge has given your dish something that a stove or oven can never do. In fact, there are actually many recipes out there that utilize this ability of the icebox to protect food while giving it the time to do its chemical voodoo. Normally the recipe will say something like, put in the refrigerator for 2 hours to rest. Rest? Is your food tired from all that assembling? What? What is going on is that your recipe writer is utilizing the icebox to give the food time to chemically and or biologically do its thing. What makes your refrigerator perfect for this is the same thing that makes it perfect for storing food. The cold. Refrigerators are set to just about freezing point. This means that under normal usage, your chill chest is a few degrees above freezing. This temperature slows down the microbial action and helps keep the food safe for longer. This way, the stuff you want to happen can happen, while at the same time keeping the stuff you don't want to happen from happening. If that made any kind of sense at all. Okay then. How do you utilize your icebox in your recipes? If you're making a baked dish like a casserole, pie, meatloaf, etc., then you need to assemble everything but the crust in a bowl and store it in the fridge to let chemistry do its thing. You don't want to put the crust on it because the flour in the crust will absorb the liquid from whatever you've got it on and just stay soggy when you cook it. You can assemble the insides and let them set for a few hours or a few days. Then, when you're ready, take the innards out of the icebox for about 15 minutes for it to lose most of its chill. Use this time to preheat your oven. Now you can put it in the crust and bake it. How about if you're cooking something on the stovetop? In that case, what you want to do is cook it until it's ready. Right before you would put in any fresh herbs, pull it from the heat and let it sit and cool down a bit. As an aside, you don't want to put a hot pot in the icebox because it will cause the temperature of all the food in the icebox to move into the danger zone where bad bacteria can grow. Letting the dish come to room temperature for 15 to 20 minutes won't endanger your dish because it's already had the bad bacteria cooked out of it, but it will protect the non-cooked food in your chill chest. After it cools down, you can put it in the refrigerator to keep until you're ready to use it. In fact, this is the way my father prefers to prepare his soups. Nearly every time he'll cook it on the day before, let it cool down, then stick it in the icebox overnight. When it's about time to serve, he'll pull it out of the fridge, heat it up, add any noodles and let them cook, and then add the fresh herbs, and then serve it. It makes a great way to do a meal when you know you'll be short on time. This and a crock pot are our two favorite things to do when we know we're not going to want to cook the next day. An after church Sunday lunch is a perfect example. Remember that thinking like a chef is about more than throwing stuff into a pot or a dish and adding heat. Think about the whole experience. What have you seen or tasted that can be incorporated into your way of cooking? Don't limit yourself. Do you have a favorite recipe that uses the refrigerator as part of the cooking process? If so, put a link to the recipe in the comment section below. I'd love to see how you're using your icebox to augment your way of eating. If you're looking for more icebox related trivia, check out the video on your left where you learn how to take better care of your refrigerator. Thank you for coming to class today. I hope you have a great week. God bless. Class dismissed.